Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and today is a big day. The White House Crypto Summit. I think it starts at 2:30. We will be watching here, paying attention. I wanted to, one thing that isn't really being talked about. Normally when we have things like this Crypto Summit that's coming up today, normally we have these big pumps and then it's one of those sell the news type things. Where the rumors bought and then the news disappoints. But today, I find it interesting that the market has been kind of going down before the meeting. And I think that's a good thing because it sets the stage for a potential pump off of the actual news when they actually have the summit. I'm hoping something big comes out of there. We'll talk about some of that. You got to see this. You can't make this stuff up. This is from that Sam Bankman-Fried interview. I'll just play a little bit of it. But in here, he says that Diddy's been very nice to him, and I'll bet he has.
Are you hanging with Diddy? I think he's in there with you.
He is. And I don't know, he's been kind. I've made some friends. It's a weird environment. It's sort of a combination of a few other high profile cases and then a lot of, position no one wants to be in. Obviously he doesn't, I don't, as you said, it's kind of a soul crushing place for the world in general. And what we see are just the people that are around us on the inside rather than who we are on the outside.
Oh, I'm sure. And you're two of the most famous prisoners in the world in the same unit. What do the armed robbers think?
Anyway, he said that Diddy was very nice to him. I'm sure he was. Breaking, no capital gains tax exemptions are expected to be announced at the White House Crypto Summit. I don't know if this is true, folks, but if we get anything even hinting at this, it would be massive. You could easily see an explosion. The CNBC propaganda media, they're just all trying to make a big joke out of it.
So tomorrow is like the event. Do you know who's going? Are you going?
No.
Do you know anyone that's going? I'm assuming Sailor.
I'm sure.
So here, like tomorrow, is it a freak show? Is it all?
If they had made it just Bitcoin in the crypto reserve, if it had not involved any altcoins, these guys would have been there with all their cameras promoting it.
Pump and dump people from Twitter, or is it like Larry Fink? I don't know. Like we're gonna find out together.
Maybe all of the above.
Yeah. So I'm in. I own it. I love you. I love you all, Bitcoin people. All right.
When are they going to start selling XRP again, showing you how to buy XRP again on CNBC is my question. Michael Arrington, who is Brad Garlinghouse's best friend, asking for a level playing field should not be polarizing. We want to foster American innovation. Personally, I think there should be many crypto projects included in the crypto reserve. The whole industry owes Ripple a debt of gratitude, says Trevor Trina. Indeed we do. Ripple was fighting for all of crypto all the way back to 2020 when the SEC targeted them. The industry eventually understood that as the SEC started enforcement actions against everyone. That's what John Deaton was telling everyone during the Ripple lawsuit, while all the bad guys, the Bitcoin maxis and all the rest of crypto, they were laughing at all of us. Who's laughing now? Well, this was a Wall Street Journal article on Brad Garlinghouse and about basically how he's winning. And then this was a quote from the article from Brad Garlinghouse. I don't even get it. He said, why is the Bitcoin community so upset? The only logical answer I can come up with is that they had a privileged position and now there's going to be a level playing field and they're upset about that. That's exactly what they're upset about. They didn't want to lose their monopoly. That's what this is about. Always has been. Look at this, MoonPay. So Ivan Hodel, who's this? CEO of MoonPay, won't tell me what he learned at the CFTC CEO forum yesterday, but here's one major takeaway. Brad Garlinghouse has the best poker face at the table. Is somebody knocking at my door? There is somebody at the front door. Hold on a second. I'm going to have to go get that. Okay, sorry about that. I had to answer the door. Eleanor Terrett, she's confirmed that pro-crypto House Republicans, that's Tom Emmer. Let me see if I can get this here. Tom Emmer's going to be there, and the chair of the Finance Committee on Digital Assets, that Brian Stale is going to be there. They'll be attending the roundtable at the White House. I'm told a senator or two may also be in attendance. I will put out an updated version of the attendee list after this morning. Caitlin Long says, not an accident. None of the 3 federal banking agencies are on the attendee list for today's White House Crypto Summit, just as all 3 were excluded from the original White House Crypto Advisory Council, since replaced by a series of summits. That's a signal amid all the noise. Stablecoins are on the White House Crypto Summit agenda today, but the Fed isn't at the table. Repeat, the U.S. Central Bank isn't at the table. Context, 3 federal banking agencies are in the doghouse for debanking crypto under Biden. Plus, there's a big scrum right now over who will control bank supervision at the Fed. It's reported Jay Powell is lobbying Trump for the role by not replacing Michael Barr, a Warrenite who stepped down last week. But Senator Tim Scott yesterday criticized Powell for letting Barr run wild under Biden. Plus, GOP senators or Senate Banking Committee this week publicly urged Trump to appoint a new vice chair for supervision rather than leave the seat vacant, and stablecoin policies being made today without the Fed at the table. Watch this space. So check this out. I just ran the numbers, and if Ripple paid their judgment that they've currently got from the SEC lawsuit of $125 million, it'd be approximately 50 million XRP under the U.S. Treasury Department stewardship. I said, what a coincidence, a huge government bag right before the institutions come in from regulatory clarity, lock in. And here's Jeremy Hogan. He says, although the Ripple judgment is denoted in U.S. dollars, it is possible that Ripple would satisfy the judgment against it by transferring the same amount of XRP to a federal XRP stockpile address. That's a Supreme Court case from 1969, which took place after the Civil War, when the general idea of U.S. legal tender was a little less settled than it is now. The court basically ordered a performance contract in gold instead of dollars. In so holding, the court noted in general specific relief will be granted when it's apparent from a view of all circumstances of a particular case that it will be subverse the ends of justice, and it will be withheld when, from a like view, it appears that it will produce hardship and injustice to either of the parties. Now, in the Willard case, the court was sitting in equity with a specific performance action, unlike the Ripple case, but I would argue the general principle is the same, especially when the parties would both be in agreement to payment in a commodity instead of dollars. If SEC doesn't agree, it's not going to happen. The bigger problem might be that Ripple judgment of $125 million was a penalty. From what I can tell, the penalties must go to the U.S. Treasury. But guess who is overseeing the XRP stockpile? The Treasury, of course. So maybe it's not that big of a problem after all. Sounds good to me. Okay, here is the Secretary of the Treasury, who will be overseeing the XRP.
Bitcoin, the reserve. Supposedly there is disappointment that we're not going to be buying Bitcoin outright using taxpayer dollars. But if we can do it in a revenue neutral way, we would. Number one, were you a proponent for the reserve? And two, is there a way to buy Bitcoin, not just acquire it through, I don't know, however we've gotten these $17 billion worth at this point?
Yeah, so Joe, I am a big proponent of the U.S. taking the worldwide lead in crypto. I think we have to bring it onshore and they use our best practices and regulation. I think that the Bitcoin reserve, before you can accumulate it, you have to stop selling it. So what we have now is from a seized asset pool, and I wasn't there when it happened, but I believe what happened was about 500 million of Bitcoin was seized, half of it was sold, and what we have now that say it's over 10 billion, 10, 12 billion, that's all through appreciation. So the first thing to do is to stop the selling. So we are going to, after the victims are paid and all of that, any seized assets will go into this reserve, and then we'll see what the way forward is for more acquisitions for the reserves. And we're starting with Bitcoin, but it's an overall crypto reserve.
Right. So how do you think about buying, though? And how should taxpayers think about that? Because effectively we'll be levering ourselves to some degree, given that we don't have a surplus of money right now to make these investments.
Yeah, so that's why the first step is to stop selling, and then we're going to put a plan in place from there. So we're having this crypto summit. I'm going back to Washington this afternoon, and then we'll talk about the way forward.
Okay, we'll talk about the way forward. Now, here on CNBC, they're talking about how China's already looking at buying Bitcoin. If you think for a minute that it's only going to be Bitcoin that not just countries, but states and institutions begin to buy, think again. It'll be the others too. XRP, ETH, Solana, ADA. They're going to be flying off the shelf.
Talking to Brian Armstrong last night ahead of this summit today, and he's one of the members who's been advising the Trump transition team since the campaign trail, and he made the point that he thinks a lot of countries are going to follow. I know of already Middle Eastern countries, Gulf states that have been looking into a Bitcoin buying strategy. There's also reportedly conversations within the Chinese government to look to follow suit if the government in the U.S. makes this move to roll out a purchase plan.
They conveniently leave out Brad Garlinghouse at the crypto summit. That's how the propaganda works.
But there is no purchase plan.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, if you have a strategic Bitcoin reserve, China used to be one of the epicenters for Bitcoin mining. It's very easy for them. They have all of this hydropower, and so they already have all the facilities, and they banned it a couple of years ago, but it takes nothing to turn it back on. And then, similar to Iran evading sanctions by just mining Bitcoin, they already have it on hand.
Let me tell you what. If Brad Garlinghouse and them worked out some kind of deal to give a chunk of that XRP escrow to the Treasury in this, it will gut all these Bitcoin maxis argument they've had all along, and they will feel like a bunch of morons, which they should. Turns out Elon Musk was in the room when they were passing the executive order. I will bet doms to donuts that X will be the U.S. version of China's WeChat, and it will be at the center of this new financial system integrating crypto. And it will not be Bitcoin that is used for payments on that platform, folks. It won't be Bitcoin. Think XLM, think XRP. And then look at this. Crypto is about to swallow all markets whole. NASDAQ plans 24-hour trading launch. Wonder where they got that. In 2026 to transform global markets. This is going to involve the tokenization, folks. Everything's going to be tokenized to facilitate this. Metal Lawman says 24/5 trading on NASDAQ will be a big change. Now public companies report quarterly earnings before and after regular trading hours. Often after market trading goes a little crazy, overacting to headline numbers and earnings releases. That will change, and the advent of 24/5 trading and listed companies will have to adjust accordingly. This is huge. And then here's the Robinhood CEO about the crypto summit.
I actually think this is a sensible approach by the administration. I think that there's a lot of debate. Obviously, there's some people in the industry that maybe wanted more or different assets. But I think this is an approach that isn't terribly controversial. It's a good place to start. And there's a lot of things that we need to get done. I agree with Secretary Bessent that the U.S. needs to be a leader in this new burgeoning industry. And, there's stable coin that needs to be figured out, market structure, prediction markets. So I think as an industry, we have to join together, be united, and keep pushing to make the U.S. number one in this industry.
Okay, you can go to daixrp.com to join the Patreon group. You can also click below this video to join. If you just click the join button on YouTube, it gives you two options to join. Today we're going to go into the All the World's a Stage file. Have we been watching a movie? we're also going to talk about some things you're not supposed to be talking about. So we're going to talk about it in there. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, tell your friends and family. Here we go.